would like to suggest that we have a simpler version of doing the minutes. And was there something else I was going to say? Maybe whatever. That's it. Oh, the Iraqis. Okay, just a word about the Iraqis, if I can say this. We held and WILPF Burlington held a meeting called Remembering the Iraq War. Okay, and that means us remembering what we were doing to try to stop it, and them telling us what happened in their countries. Of course, they were born after shock and awe. But anyway, so I offered an apology. My little speech was an apology to them that of what we had done to them. And it was videotaped, so I will send it out to everyone if you're interested. Thank you.
Please do.
Is their country destroyed? Are they all dealing with devastation and problems? I just kind of would like to know.
No, absolutely not. They are, in fact, one of the young men said, why are you mulling over what happened 20 years ago? We've done a lot of living since that. In fact, they have been involved in a protest movement called Ting Ting. Of course, I'm not saying it right. It's a word for September. There is a movement there that with demonstrations, people were killed in 2019, and they feel that they had an impact on the government, and there's a new president who is more open to making things happen. And so they feel slightly successful, although the two of them that were here seem to be not actively involved in politics. But just to hear that there is a movement there, that they feel they had some success, is really, really new news to me.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Are they here as students?
They're here as they were chosen through the Vermont Council on World Affairs and World Learning, and I think they were all vetted by the embassy, the American embassy in Iraq, of course. And you know, these are the young leaders of the future. So it's the United States trying to convince them to love us and to, in the future, side with us in diplomacy when they grow up. But they're not grown up, and they spend their time doing absurd things, even when they're here. They want to go to films and whatever, and buy things. They want to go and buy things, and they have kids have money because they come from the upper class. Anyway, it's been an interesting experience.
So they're living with you for how long?
The last week, and they're leaving Tuesday.
Okay, as far as minutes, I think that you should do what you think. I think, I don't know, you want me to summarize any actions? We could try to do that.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that she told us about this is worth noting in some brief sentences.
I want to say that my companion is taking very accurate notes. The last thing said, Robin suggested simplifying the format of meeting minutes to focus on decisions rather than detailed discussions. I'm getting lovely notes here with my little AI companion. I'm very pleased. I can condense them down. Look, before that, they said the approval of the previous minutes were postponed as they weren't ready yet. They're simple. I like this. Wait till you get them and see what you think. If you let me use this, I like it.
Wow, thank you. That was.
Can you see it?
No.
I think if you click on I think you can actually watch it if I'm entered as a participant.
That'll be distracting, I think.
I think it's distracting, but I just wanted you to see how good it is. I'm telling you, it's very good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great.
What is it?
It's a Zoom AI. It comes free with the paid account.
It's a companion that is listening to us and writing into the chat a summary of what it hears.
Do you see it at the bottom of your screen? I see it, but I'm also the host. Do you see AI companion next?
Not in
I
the
don't see
regular
it.
chat.
Yes,
Chat.
between summary and apps.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
see it.
So if you click on it, then it's like
Oh, yeah,
chat shows up to the right.
AI companion, yes, I saw.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Where are we? I think we're at the Gaza-Israel war.
Well, we still help the students who have been arrested. We're trying to put pressure on our local official in the courthouse, but the university seems to want to get more arrested. So apparently they're visiting the one who have been involved but were not arrested, and to frighten them or something. I don't know. So it's weird. I don't think the university is going to stop. I guess they are afraid for what might happen in September if it's still going on in Gaza. Anyway, we also have every Friday an hour vigil, and a lot of people come and talk to us. So, and we had an art fair, and we passed out a lot of flyers in the art fair, and somebody was annoyed because I was passing them like if I was selling carrots or potato. I was saying, peace, peace, peace. Who wants to work for peace? Who wants to change the world? And they told me I cannot do that loudly. But I wanted to wake up people, and you'd be amazed. Do you want to make peace in the world? And how many people say, no, thank you.
Wow.
They probably thought you were selling peas.
Peace,
Okay, Cheryl.
peace.
Right. So I actually I have a report from Eileen Kukowski, who is not going to join us today, but she sent me 2 paragraphs to read out in this section. Okay. On Thursday, she says August, I think she means July the 25th, a dozen of us were in a silent vigil in front of Jake Auchenklaus's office building on Craft Street, Newton, Massachusetts. I was wearing a sign saying, over 17,000 kids have been killed in Israel and Gaza. Ceasefire. And I was holding end of a ceasefire, the one end of a ceasefire banner. One of the several loud supporters of Israel against Palestine drove and parked a car in front of our group and blasted recorded foreign words out of the passenger window. 3 of us with the banner decided to cross the street to protest on the opposite sidewalk. As we crossed, the man backed up his car and hitting me.
Wow.
I'm okay. The EMTs and police came. The man drove off before the police came, but they know him from previous incidents. We got his license plate and a video of the incident. The other Israeli supporters saw what happened. Please contact the police at first sign of trouble. Don't protest alone. So that is Eileen's experience on July the 25th. Okay.
Was she hurt?
She says, I'm okay.
What does that mean?
She's not in hospital. She's not limping about. She attended the all-day board meeting yesterday and is tired from that. That's why she's not here right now. But she's asked me to read that out. So you got the idea?
Yes. Wow.
All right. And of course, my branch continues on our Friday vigils to bring attention to the need. But I want to hear from Diane, who went to protest Netanyahu.
Okay, so I parked a ways away. I decided not to take the metro because I had great decisions in the evening to go to. So I decided to drive into DC, which I hardly ever do because parking's horrendous. Anyway, I found a parking place and I was just walking into the towards the House of Representatives. It was totally blocked. Everything, the entire House of Representatives was all blocked. No normal person could get in. There were police. There were like these huge like snow shovels with these huge tractors and police galore. It was amazing. And so then I thought, okay, the guy said I had to go up to 3rd Street. I go up and I move my car and I try walking in. Library of Congress is closed off. You can't even get near there. And then all these people are walking and they say, we're going to meet and down the hill. And so then I moved again, and sure enough, and near the National Gallery of Art, they had this huge, everybody was there. Everybody ended up there. And they had a stage. It was the same it was in exactly the same place as the Poor People's Campaign had been. And so they had speakers, and the head of Answer stood up and said how he was horrified that, everything was so blocked off. The idea is that we were going to form a red line around the Capitol, like they had for the White House, but it was impossible to do because it was just so many police and so far, and they had round blocks. So anyway, yeah, everybody wore red, and I had a red hat, and I had made a bow, a black, green, white, and red. And I sent the picture to Ellen. And so they had speakers, and it was hot. But it was, it was amazing. But evidently people went on all night. They went to the Watergate where Netanyahu was speaking. And then there was a little bit of vandalism. Of course, that was like a big story in the paper, the vandalism of a few people. So even though thousands and thousands were there. So I don't know, that was my experience. And it's frustrating to think of the money that's spent. They said that there has never been such tight security at the Watergate, and they've had many people there before. So this was, and people at the Watergate were upset about what they had to go through to get into their houses and stuff, or their apartments. So I have never seen anything like it. And it's, it just makes it worse because it's already so upsetting that he was asked by Congress to speak. And then this security, that all the money we've spent, there were police from New York. They hired all these extra police. There were cars blocking off neighborhoods. It was just horrendous. So anyway, that's my report.
That's
Well,
tragic.
thank you. Thank you for getting out there when the rest of us were thousands of miles away.
Yeah, well,
when you say
Susan, I was just going to say, I heard Susan Sarandon speak, and I went up and I saw her. Jill Stein was there with a couple of people from her campaign, and then other speakers I didn't really know. So Robin, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to the earlier report about the students. I mean, I think that there is going to be a really powerful pushback by government and university officials at colleges around the country to make sure that incoming students are neutralized in some way, or I don't know, restrained from becoming activists. And those that were activists last year are as was reported, maybe scared into doing anything. And so I think this is an important thing. If any of us know, and I know 2 kids that are going to college next year, to talk to them beforehand and sort of suggest that to be careful and to be aware and to speak out, not to be frightened. That's the main thing. They are the younger generation who are really carrying the burden of this essential response to genocide that our country is facing. And we have to thank them and help them as they move forward and as they figure out what to do.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Pam?
So something more positive, that Marilia Kelly and I and another person went to the Ride for Peace from the Middle East Children's Alliance, and they raised $275,000.
Wow.
We did not ride on bicycles.
And who are they going to send it to?
Well, they have ongoing programs there. They've put in water purification plants. children's programs, food. They have people on the ground there. So they're very, very good at getting in and providing aid to people in Gaza and the West Bank.
Tell us
What's
again the
the
name of the organization.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, they're in Berkeley.
The name.
Oh, Middle East Children's Alliance.
Oh, yes,
Mm.
it's with Barbara Luben. It used to be led by Barbara Luben.
Yes.
I invited her to one of our WILPF Congress one time.
Oh, it's been going a long time. It's not a new organization.
No, 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 it's a very old one. It was already
Mhm.
there when I lived there.
Maybe started in the 80s or something. Long
Yeah.
time.
Okay, well, I'm glad that such a large amount of money was raised. Excellent.
She's very good. She does a lot of things.
Well, now it's led by somebody from Palestine.
Yeah, she has a big team now.
Yeah.
I don't know the new people, but she used to have a large amount of people. She did so many events in Berkeley, one after another. It was so great.
Hmm.
And
Um,
she's still working with Tri-Valley Cares, although she does have somebody else who's actually being the executive director now, and he was the attorney for them for quite a while, so he's experienced. But she has a on the mail that comes, it'll be from him, but then the rest of the line also has her name and whatever they're calling her category.
He's the senior advisor now.
But
Right.
Tri-Valley Care is a different
Also,
organization.
Organization,
Yeah,
right? That's
exactly.
Tri-Valley Cares.
But
Mhm.
she was talking about Marilia Kelly, who a lot of people
Maria
here
Kelly.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we had to summarize any actions, I think it's Robin's that we need to support these students. I don't want them getting arrested for their activism, which is horrendous, or losing, or not being able to graduate, or being thrown out of school. So I don't know what we can do to help these, but it sounds like Odil's doing what she can there, but
Well, we have
I
to
don't-
all continue protesting and writing to our Congress people about it.
Yeah, we continue to protest. We have protested for a year now. It's on my
Okay.
Instagram if you want to see some of the picture. It's on my Instagram. It's maybe on Facebook also.
You've gotten modern then, I guess, Odile. You're in Instagram. I'm trying to get there too.
Yeah, because it's a lot of WILPF Nigeria. A lot of WILPF are on Instagram, and that's what I like about it.
Oh, good. Okay. So the next item is Ukraine. Do you think the change in the Democratic presidential candidate might lead to a faster diplomatic solution?
No. No,
Yeah, I
because
would just
they're supporting the armament corporation. That's what it's all about. Money, money, money. And it's a drone war, more and more and more and more. Drone, drone, drone.
I think
Yeah,
yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, I get a feel that just reading what I'm reading, that Ukraine is realizing they're not really winning. And that's, when one side feels that, that's when it's more likely that there will be some diplomatic negotiations.
Yeah, that's true.
I
So,
listened to a webinar with John Mearsheimer and somebody else, and they both agreed that Ukraine is losing, and it would be better for them to, but will they, better for them to.
The Ukrainian foreign minister went to China to ask for some help in negotiating. I don't know
Mhm.
beyond that.
Right. I mean, China has offered to be helpful. But I do think that we should give some attention to the Harris campaign. I don't know if anybody can work out how you reach the Harris campaign, that we should say you know, she should be looking towards a ceasefire in Ukraine as well as Gaza. So if anybody can find, Google that for us, how you reach Kamala Harris's campaign officers, and so we can direct some emails that way.
Yeah.
Hmm.
This is just a small note while people are thinking about that. There has been some discussion about the pronunciation of her name. It's Kamala rather than Cam. So we can get ourselves used to that.
Camilla. Camilla.
Are you sure it isn't Kamala?
No, it's Kamala. More of a-
There's a whole thing about the
Ah.
Oxford comma to get
For
me-
people to be, her baseball team when she was in the Senate was
For
called the
me.
Oxford comma.
For me, it's Camilla.
No, it's comma.
Oh,
It's
it-
comma, yeah.
Like a
You're giving it the
comma,
French.
like
You're
a
giving it the
comma.
French.
as if it were Komma, Kamala.
Everybody,
Comma.
please speak one at a time. The AI cannot, and the humans
Oh.
both cannot take notes when you're all talking at once.
Thank you.
I think diffuse nuclear war, ICBMs.
Right. So we did have this, what we thought was going to be a very short campaign to send messages
Oh,
adding to Garamendi. All right. So Representative Garamendi, who's around Davis, California, is his district, has been corresponding with Secretary of Defense Austin about the so that rule that says if something goes over budget, then there has to be a review. So there was a review, but they didn't, you know, all they said was, oh, tut, tut, the money's gone too high, but they still got permission to continue with this Sentinel program. Okay. So we decided, Peggy's idea, that we write to Garamendi and this working group. There is a working group out of both houses on nuclear weapons and arms control. So we created a letter, which I did send to the working group. At the same time, we took over this petition that's there in the agenda. So we're a bit cheeky, all right? This is a Roots Action petition that's already there, saying we should abolish, not just not do the Sentinel, but abolish the whole thing of ICBMs. And I gave you text to add. There was space. You can edit those petitions. And I sent you on July the 20th, the text that you were to then copy and paste into the petition. And that's one of those marvelous petitions. It asks your zip code and your address, and it works out who your representative
work.
is, who's your two senators, and it sends your email to them. Okay. So I want to know where, I mean, I know some of you did because you wrote, but did anybody actually get a reply? So the point is, there was going to be a hearing on the 24th of July. So he was going to talk some more to Austin and tell him off. Okay. So, but he realized that was the day Netanyahu was coming to speak, and maybe it wasn't the right day. So they postponed that hearing. So that means we have more time. We can continue. If you haven't already, fill that petition in. I ask you, plead with you to do it using the extra text. Okay. Because that hearing hasn't happened yet.
I did that. I put that.
Yes, I know some of you did it. Did you actually get any answers from your representatives? They're supposed to answer you.
I don't think so.
Does the automatic go to the senators as well?
Yes, yes, supposed to.
Okay, I didn't get a response. That makes me really mad.
Yeah. Now, there, you know, Roots Action has an enormous email list. So there's a lot of people using their petitions. And you can imagine that the senators don't pay less attention when they see it's coming from Roots Action. Now, Nancy Price, who will not be joining us today, Garamendi is her representative. So she drove the letter to him. You know, we got letterhead. We now have a disarm committee letterhead, and we put the official letter to them. And so she drove that to Garamendi's
that's
office.
wonderful.
So that's the kind of thing, you know, you have to be doing. So
that's
please continue filling in that petition because they do count. Even though you're not getting replies, they count. They have
Yeah, they-
interns who count how many
Yeah.
people wrote about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then,
Cheryl?
yes, Peggy had something.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
Oh, no,
since
Carol. Yeah.
that's okay.
should I go ahead?
Yes.
I feel like since I pushed so hard, and those of you who are better organizers actually swung into motion and something actually happened, and I feel rather apologetic that the July 24th meeting didn't happen, but I'm grateful that that we're in gear on being able to do petitions like this. What I wanted to raise, and which makes me feel a little absurd that I've honed in so on the Sentinel, is that at this moment, when we have Kamala and the Democrats are so concerned about activating the traditional base, which includes peace supporters, which means that WILPF disarm nuclear weapons and end wars is part of a very, very large constituency that Kamala needs. And I think at this point, I think the youth, and this, I'm sorry, I'm responding somewhat to Robin's concern, and I hope that the youth are going to be as strong as they are. I think that her talk recently on Gaza, she expressed compassion as being a higher priority, I read, than the ideological commitment to Jewish homeland, sort of that absolute thing that has been so long. So I don't know that, but I feel that that was a response to the very vigorous force of youth, and they're being so turned off of Biden because of Gaza. So I feel like it may be, what I was going to say is I think it's really important that the peace community have a slogan and a clear action, which is our ask. And I think ceasefire in Gaza is clear. I don't think it's been won, but I think it's clear. It's very clear that that is what youth wants, and it is the Palestinians and Michigan. So I think ceasefire in Gaza is a clear ask. I don't know that, I mean, I know that we don't have a clear one on nuclear disarmament, nuclear abolition,
Yes, we do.
nuclear power.
Yes, we do. We support HR 2775.
Well, I wondered if, because that's what I was going to ask, is that the one that
Yes.
should, because I was going to say, should it be the Sentinel? Should it be 2775? Should it be make a negotiation with Russia and China? So if I'm sort of going to accede at this point then to you, Ellen, because if there is clarity on something that not just WILPF, but like I didn't even know that Nuclear Watch South existed till 2 weeks.
There's hundreds of, the many organizations.
So that's the point. That's my question. Is there a slogan with a specific ask that is realistic to expect the Kamala campaign at this point to commit to in order to be able to count on all of us who were sitting on our hands when Biden was the candidate to be as enthusiastic as the Kamala is brat people?
Well, perhaps we need to write something for the campaign, but HR 2775 is the Nuclear Weapons Abolition and Conversion Act, and it's the Warheads to Windmills campaign bill. that Timon Wallace and Vicki Elson have been so excellent about working on. And Timon has written and published a book, and it's also available on the website. And it's saying take the money from nuclear weapons to shut down and clean up the nuclear weapons industries and use that money for to address climate change and carbon-free, nuclear-free energy and other
That's
human
good.
needs.
Well, I reviewed that before. I reviewed that, Ellen, and defund nuclear, fund green is too broad. That is not something we can get a specific commitment to. Ceasefire in Gaza is something they can commit to, but to completely, the slogan as it is too diffuse.
Okay, well, let's work on the slogan
Okay.
then, but you know,
I
back from the Brink campaign, which we signed on to, is a good, they've got some good suggestions. And right now we're talking with the legislative group, localities and legislators, that Peter Bergel is and David Courtwriter's trying to whip together people to get behind the freeze again, start the freeze again, so that they can stop the modernization. And there are others who are saying, no, that doesn't go far enough. We've already done that, and we really have to go for complete abolition. So abolish nuclear weapons is a really good slogan right there. Just get rid of it.
It's a wonderful slogan. And as people get involved, as they come to establish that as their philosophical position, that's wonderful. But I don't think that's an ask that we can expect Kamala and her campaign to commit to. I'm trying to get to something that they will commit to during this period.
Right. So let me suggest that is getting back to the arms control treaties that have fallen by the wayside. That the JCPOA and the INF, the Intermediate Nuclear, I forget. Anyway, there are 2 or 3 treaties that Trump took us out of.
Yeah.
So, and getting them to commit, which somewhat they have actually already committed, that they really do want to get these arms control talks leading to a new or renewed or refreshed treaties is, I believe, already somewhat a commitment. So I think that's the ask we could ask.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so how, you know.
And the idea of a freeze isn't a bad one either.
Right.
Yeah.
That may not.
What do other organizations that are, I mean, I'm so unknowledgeable compared to you all. So, I mean, but you all work with other organizations. Is what Cheryl just raised, is that something that ICANN and MAPA and others can pick up on?
Everybody supports the incremental steps. It's just that our main focus might be further ahead, you know.
Right. You want people to come to that position, but I don't think you can. I don't think that's an ask that I would expect Kamala to agree to go on record at this point. And I think she will go on record for something beyond where we are now. That's what I'm trying to say.
So back from the brink is not, do you think she will not support that? I mean, that's.
I don't, how does that go?
There's three or four different asks. Okay. One is that we take our nuclear weapons off a hair trigger. So we don't have the bombs actually in the missiles. They have to be brought from a storage area and put in the missiles. We don't let the president have a single authority to push that button that sends the ICBMs. And we say no first use. The government of the US promises they won't be the first ones to send off the missiles. So those are the three most obvious of the 5 asks that, you know, could be. But I think getting back, if you want something that's more likely to be actually addressed, is renewing some of these treaties. The New START treaty runs out not that long from here, but we need to get people back talking to the Russians about that. So there are some bilateral treaties, there's some multilateral treaties, and you know, the new Iranian president who was just elected, you know, he seems to be more towards agreeing that they can do something to renew the JCPOA. So there's the 5 asks. And
No first strike is the only, being out here, I call myself lay person out here. I'm speaking for the mass. No first strike is the only thing that you have mentioned that I have heard as a general thing that I think could be a slogan at this time. I don't know.
Peggy, I think that WILPF members would not be comfortable with just saying no first strike, because the second strike is not acceptable either.
Right, yeah, okay.
anyway, I think we've spent a lot of time on
Okay.
this. And
It's 8:15.
right, so we have, you know, somebody who wants to write, you know, suggest some slogans. Or we've got now up in the chat, we have how to contact the vice president.
And
Which
perhaps
really is-
we can invite Peggy to join the localities and legislators discussion group to
right.
get involved.
Because we had that big conference trying to get a nuclear abolition community together, which we did get a lot of people together, okay? And, you know, so it's, we're trying to appear, you know, as big as we are, or even bigger, anyway.
Okay, but
Robin?
I propose that as the result of this discussion, that we write, that we disarm, or will US write a letter to Kamala, hoping I'm saying it right, about nuclear weapons, either more than no first strike. I would, and even back from the brink. We've talked about back from the brink so many times in the past, and we didn't quite agree with it, but now I think we
do.
have come around to say, okay, everyone else.
Well, we should add to end the ICBM also,
Okay,
because it's too costly and it's too dangerous.
okay, so does Ellen want to write a letter to Kamala that we will
Sign, co-sign?
and we will
Does
get it?
anybody else want to be involved in this writing of a letter to Kamala? Because I would be glad to see what other people have to say and then put it all together.
Yeah, Cheryl will help.
Okay.
And so it's
And I could help if
Okay.
yeah, so let me say
it depends when you do it.
right. So
The sooner
remember,
the
we have
better.
Margot's letter, which suggests questions that you could ask of candidates and when they have town halls or debates, not just, you know, not just your Congress people, but right down to your city council. There are going to be elections. We're trying to bring nuclear weapons into the discussions of
Yes.
elections. And so Ellen, we could look back at Margot's letter, which we're not going to send out till after Labor Day, anyway, as some prompting for us. I mean, it's, you know, there is so much stuff that's already written. It's not that big a job.
No, getting it short and sweet is important.
Yeah, right.
McGregor?
Yes. I just wanted to say from now on, from this part of the meeting on, jot down action items yourself that you're going to do. I'm doing my best, but I asked the AI too many questions and I don't get any more until the next one. So I'm learning, we're learning together, me and my little guy. So I'm very pleased with the notes up till now. Some of you can see them. Yeah. So from now on, I'll just jot down and you guys jot down what you're supposed to do.
Yes, especially if you commit to something, please sit down.
And I'm willing to try to help also.
Thank you,
Okay.
Joan,
So that's Cheryl
Ellen and Joan.
and Odile.
Right.
It's almost like who isn't.
Okay, I think we're on to the next topic, which is the $1 trillion silencer. Doing something with this book by Joanne Roloffs. So there has been discussion of a webinar that's been talked about for many months, I believe, sort of by both Women, Money, Democracy and us. Just a little bit, but so I wanted to put it on the agenda.
This is the book is, and we've already been in contact with the author, right? She's already somewhat agreed to do this. Am I right?
Somewhat, yeah. Mhm.
Yes. And so when it says $1 trillion silencer, it's how the weapons industry has silenced the rest of us from doing anything. Is that
Right,
the
right.
phrase?
Because everybody, yeah, Joan?
It starts out with quite several chapters about the current situation as far as the government entities that are, working on the weapons and the so on and so forth. So I haven't gotten to the part where she says, let's do this, that, and the other thing.
Okay, so we just need one person from our committee to be corresponding with Mary Beth, who is the Women Democracy, Money and Democracy. I just would like somebody else, please, to take this task on, who hasn't raised their hand to do anything yet this period. Okay, who's going to talk to Mary Beth and get a solid date and arrange it? If you're on this committee, yes, thank you, Carol.
But I don't have her contact info.
Yes,
So,
we will provide that to you.
okay.
If you're on the committee, you need to be doing things.
Yes.
Just coming to the meeting is not enough.
Oh,
There's
I
all
know.
these tasks.
I know. It's only my second one.
No, Carol,
I'm
thank you very
learning.
much. I'm throwing some darts at some other people. Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay,
want to
and
help
if
with the letter too, but you have enough already. But I'll
What's
grab the
that?
next letter.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll hop on with the next letter.
Well, also, once we come up with something, we'll send it out to the group and ask for comments, suggestions.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. But then, all right. So just to say that the webinar maybe aim to have it before the election in November.
Okay.
Does people think we should aim for an earlier webinar? Yes.
Yes.
Maybe we should have a webinar in September
Yeah. Mhm.
when people are regrouping
I
for
just,
the coming year.
I just put Mary Beth's phone number in the chat.
Okay.
And you could also put her email.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is
Lovely.
she the contact person for us with Joan Roberts? Is Mary Beth the contact person?
yes, I think she's the one who.
Actually, I think it's Mary Sanderson. Carol, if you
Oh,
do you have my email address? Because I've been involved with this with both Women, Money, Democracy. So I think I should
Okay.
be involved
Yeah.
too.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we'll both work on it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I can send you some information too about it.
Okay.
So
I probably should read the book too, huh?
Well, I have no time to read books.
Before we go, did this group talk at all about Annie Jacobson's book? Nuclear
we've-
War?
We've noted that it exists.
Okay.
And it's very powerful.
And we didn't speak about the NPT.
We're up to 5. We're into campaign reports now.
And the NPT is the campaign report.
Yes, if you look at the agenda, Odile.
I
you'll
don't
see-
have it in front of me, so.
Yes, it's 5
Right there.
little I, and it's under that.
Thank
So
you.
now is your chance to tell us what you learned from the summary of Abolition 2000, who held a summary for us.
You want me to tell you now?
Yeah.
Yes,
Now and
that's where we are.
Okay, there was a report given by Jackie Cabasso from the Western State Legal Foundation, from Alan Weir, who is living in the Czech Republic, but he's a member, he supports members of parliament, and I forgot the name of his organization, and then Bill Kidd, who is a member of the Scottish Parliament. And they were speaking about the fact that it's very cold what's going on in the NPT. Everybody was scared. And there was a lot of bad word, like, destruction, Armageddon, whatever, because there was not a lot of talk and diplomacy between countries. And they are right now, the geopolitics is the war in Ukraine, where Putin and Trump was saying that why don't we use nuclear? Why do we have nuclear weapon if we don't use them? And anyway, and there is Gaza, which is bad. So there were an interface appeal to create more diplomacy in nation state, and it was signed by 79 organizations. I didn't get the text of that appeal, but anyway, I heard about it. And there were a lot of talk about one thing called nuclear sharing. Nuclear sharing is one, like, for instance, the US put a lot of nuclear weapon in a country like Germany where there is no nuclear weapon. Well, if there is a conflict that starts, then Germany has a right to get involved with that. And so they will have the right to make decisions on nuclear weapon because it's their land and soil. And so that's nuclear sharing. But what happened is that right now, a lot of people, especially ICANN, feel that it's happening in too many countries that are non-nuclear weapon state where other countries want to put their nuclear weapon. So they felt that was endangering the global security. So I can object to that. And the US said, well, nobody objected before, so why do they object now? So, anyway, that was one of the big talk at the NPT. And there is also 2 devices that are, a lot of people were talking about it. And one is called improvised nuclear device, IND, improvised nuclear device, and a radioactive dispersal device called RDD. So those, I don't know everything inside out about those devices, but they are kind of new device and they are nuclear and they are very much endangering the security of certain countries. There were much dialogue with Russia and China. Actually, China seems to have quite a bit of wisdom, but of course the US wants to counter China in every way they can. And Russia was bringing some nuclear weapon to Belarus. It's a tactical short-range nuclear weapon. And so other people, that's why they were speaking also about nuclear sharing, because Russia is bringing them to Belarus who doesn't have any nuclear weapons. So that kind of brought back all this question of nuclear sharing. Jackie also gave a report on the Middle East nuclear weapon free zone. And she said it's like it was before. People are meeting there and they actively meeting. And there is, of course, the 22 Arab countries that are there and Iran. And they speak a lot about international terrorism, Hamas, and ordinary people suffering, and NATO. But anyway, it's fairly positive, those meetings, she said, except Israel and the US are not there, especially Israel, but there is a chair for Israel. So whenever the treaty is advanced enough and that Israel feels they can join, they will be able to join. And they're working on it, no matter that the US and Israel are not part of it. They're just advancing all the declaration on the treaties. So I think that's all I have so far. And I wrote an article that I sent to Gloria this afternoon because she wanted to help me to edit it so it could go into local newspaper. So that's good. And somebody else also volunteered who said she's a very good editor and she wrote a few books.
That's Judith.
Judith,
Judy, yeah.
who just got on.
Okay. Oh, very good. So anyway, she said she was willing to help edit also. So I have two possible editors and I have done the work this afternoon. It's gruesome work, and I did a lot of research to understand all the parts of it. Okay, very good. That's all I have to say. Bye.
Thank you. Okay, Cheryl and then Pam.
Yeah, so I also attended this meeting and took a lot of notes. The point is that the civil society was allowed to speak to the plenary session last Tuesday.
Oh.
And there were at least 15 NGOs who spoke, and including Reaching Critical Will had a spot, PNND had a spot, and so on. We were asked some of these statements were circulated through the NPT Google listserv that I'm a member of. So we got Darian to endorse all the statements we were asked to endorse. Okay. And so those statements were read out to the plenary on last Tuesday. There's a lot of side events like this is just a preparatory committee that's meeting. This is not the usual full-blown NPT review. Okay.
No, it's
it's called a preparatory committee. Okay. So
I put that in my article. I put the whole description.
So somebody reminded them that at a G20 meeting, there had been a statement that you might remember along the lines of nuclear war can never be won and should never be fought. And quite a few presidents signed that. And so Bill Kidd, the Scottish Parliament member, asked if they could get a reaffirmation of this from some of these G20, the big countries, and so they were trying to backtrack. Well, we just meant at the time, we didn't really mean what we said. So it's anyway, things like that. Nuclear risk reduction was a topic in many of the civil society was trying to say, we've got to take these steps to reduce the risk. So those and what China was saying, China was talking about needing a non-first use treaty. There could be a treaty, and so but the US poo-pooed their efforts. They're trying, the US is poo-pooing everything that China's doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's probably enough. Unless
you.
Pam was there and had anything extra we haven't said.
I will add those notes to my article. I wrote them down.
Pam, did you want to talk? You're muted.
About the nuclear sharing, you know, it's really horizontal proliferation, and Poland and Sweden have both indicated, you know, that Sweden just joined NATO, so they indicated they would be willing to have nuclear weapons on their territory. We're going in a very bad direction. Besides all these 650, it started out 450 Sentinel missiles being built. But the last I read, it's now 650 Sentinel missiles being built. And it's not a 37% cost overrun, which triggered the Nunn-McCurdy. Now, at Tri-Valley Cares meeting, they thought it would be an 81% cost overrun and years behind schedule, which means even more cost overruns as time goes on. Anyway, so I put some reports in the chat. The booklet is 48 pages. So maybe if you go to Reaching Critical Will, you can find a summary that Ray Atchison did. I'm done.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I read about 3/4 of it, but I didn't finish. It's long.
Okay, so are we on to Hiroshima, Nagasaki?
Could we
And
put,
what,
could we put Ray Atchison on a website, a report of the NPT? Could we put it a link on the Disarm website? Thank you.
All right, so somebody write that down. It's been sent, you know, by email.
I think a link to it would be better than putting the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
No, just
well,
a link. Just a
Yeah,
link.
yeah. It's yeah. There's several steps involved with that, but okay. So I would just like us to many of our branches automatically every year do something to commemorate the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings. Okay. I have not written to find out who's doing what this year yet. I've been rather busy with other things. But let me remind you all the things that have been done in the past to remind you that some people ring bells. You can ring bells in Buddhist temples or in Christian churches. Some people fast. And of course, if you're going to fast over that period between over the two bombings, you need to tell your local media you're doing that. There's no point in fasting and not telling anybody about it. You can float candles on lakes, which is what Monterey does, Monterey branch. Fresno often, and Carol will know this maybe, has events in public in Fresno. Santa Cruz branch has asked me to speak on the August the 4th. Apparently my presence has already been advertised in a local newspaper here in Santa Cruz where I'm sitting right now. So next Sunday I shall be talking to essentially it's a rally and a no more nuclear weapons event. And writing op-eds to your local newspaper, reminding them how awful those bombings were and that we don't want any more. So those are the kind of things that we could be telling our branches to do. Has anybody and then Gloria, who is going to be speaking later, has some ideas of using radio spots, but we won't talk about that now. We'll talk about that later. Anybody else? What do your branches or your areas do? And
Hideko has her hand raised. Go
yes,
ahead, Hideko.
Thank you. I just wanted to say, from all these years, having participated and planned vigil for Hiroshima and Nagasaki annual remembrance, and this year will be the 79th. My greatest concern right now is there is more likelihood of a possible misuse of the nuclear weapon. And part of the reason is in spite of this participation in the annual remembrance, American people, or most of the people, have absolutely no idea what this goddamn thing is like. You know, it's a thing. Oh, I'm so sorry it happened. No, 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 no. You have got to be a lot more serious, and then please learn as much as you can how horrific it is. I think if you have been in a war situation, you have a little bit more, you know, and we had carpet bombing, and, you know, that's also a genocide. Long before the nuclear weapons use. I would love it if you can study more about it or do whatever you can to get the sense of what the use of a nuclear weapon and the people being killed in it. Thank you.
Yeah. Ellen? Unmute.
Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly, and I'm going to put the link in the chat to an interview that Hideko kindly did for us in 2020, and it's on the WILPF US Today YouTube channel. I'll put that in the chat for you. I also put in the chat an invitation to those of you who are available on August the 5th at 3:30 p.m. Western time, Pacific time, and 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're having a Zoom of the DC area Hiroshima Nagasaki Peace Committee, which has been around for over 40 years. And Hideko has agreed to join us, and we're very excited about that. And it's, you know, we've been meeting on the 5th and the 8th at the hour that the bomb was dropped 13 hours later in Japan for all those years. And we have had Hibaka join us many times, and it's a very powerful experience, and I hope that you will join us. So the link to the registration link is in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Margot?
Very briefly, I just want to say to my sister Hideko that I'm aware of course, of Operation Meeting House, which was the carpet bombing of Tokyo with the incendiary bombs, which may have killed more people than at least one of the atomic bombings. When you're in that frame of mind, that it's all right to massacre civilians. That would explain, and I think it's critical that we know that. And Daniel Ellsberg also made that point in his book.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
I missed some of it, Margot. Just say one more time. What's critical? The critical point?
Yes, that people be aware, which my sister Hideko has said, that the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki did not occur apart from other terrorist bombings of civilians. And I think that Operation Meeting House, which was the incendiary bombing of Tokyo on March 9th of 1945, is an example. And when you and it may have killed more people than one, if not both, of the atomic bombings, because it didn't have the element of radiation. But otherwise, probably, it maybe over 100,000 people were killed in that bombing. And the idea of making this terrorist war on civilians is wrong, regardless of who's doing it. And I just wanted to affirm that, just to say arigato gozaimasu to my sister Hideko for sharing her experience and her passion, both.
Right, thank you. Okay. I guess
just to say, Tri-Valley Cares will have its annual demonstration outside Lawrence Livermore Lab, but they will actually live stream it. So I put in the chat there, you can watch that. They have speakers from the Ellsberg family and various other well-known speakers outside just on the grassy area just outside Lawrence Livermore Lab, where the nuclear weapons are designed here in the Bay Area. So please if you do nothing else that day, try to log in and watch the live stream of that. And then ICANN is also going to, you know, go to the usual places. I have not had as much time. PSR usually has events. So I will try to collapse all this into an email that I will send to the WILPF branches listserv. Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. Reports on actions with our various coalitions. I made a presentation to the board to explain that we endorse the Founding Mothers movement, and they are considering it. They really needed more time to understand, and I have to submit some papers. There's actually a form to be filled out regarding partnerships. So it will be brought up at the next board meeting.
Is that a WILPF form or a FMM form that has to be filled out?
No, WILPF, that Darian's going to send, but I haven't got it yet. Okay.
This is in order to, because we have a process. Let's just give a bit of background. We have a process for becoming a partner with another organization. Right?
Right.
Diane?
Right.
Yes. And
yes.
It was done previously for an academy of our own, which you will see we get, which works with women, money and democracy. So this is a process that's not just been invented for our situation, but it already existed. Okay, so Diane is going to have to be filling some things in. Did you actually talk about PEP or not?
No, I'm put it off for 2 months because
Right.
I thought just dealing with one thing at a time is better.
Yes.
So yeah, and that took a lot of time, just that. So that's but I hope to do that in 2 months at the September board meeting. Okay. Gloria is here. Yay. So Gloria, take it away.
The button worked. I tried twice logging in and the buttons didn't work. So now, yes, I hope we can move on this and get this public service spot. I'd like to share a screen if I may. And I must find it first now.
Judith, while she's doing that, do you need to say something to Diane about?
I just want to ask, could someone tell me where we are on the agenda? I must have the wrong one.
No, you don't have. We're on interacting with the media. 4.
I'm in the midst of finding my
IV.
5
campaign reports. Go
Wait,
down about.
Oh, I didn't. I must have come in very late. All right, thank
you. We did.
Yes,
All
we've
right,
been going. We've been going nearly an hour and a half. An hour and.
Didn't it start at 5:30?
No, we started at 4:30 Pacific time. And you're at Pacific time. You were supposed to be here at 4:30.
Sorry,
it's confusing.
Well, I knew I was supposed to be here, and I'll have to talk until my Zoom opens. I mean, my Word opens to show you the.
Yes, and I did ask you all to look at Gloria's ideas of the words for these radio spots.
Yeah, it's only 60 words is all we can get into 20 seconds, and I'll talk as this Word opens. It's a little sluggish, so. I think that this is very doable. It's about $380 for 10 spots in the biggest city in Oregon, which is the state in which Hideko lives. So I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to put it through. I'm going to buy the underwriting, bite the bullet, because I don't know, if we wait any longer, it won't get the whole month of August. And I don't think this is outrageous. The one here in Tucson, our community radio charges $300 for 11 spots. So it's very comparable. And that's, I think, a bigger city. I have to check. I think Portland is bigger than Tucson.
You're going to use your own money, Gloria?
I'm going to use my own nickel. Yes. I think it's the least I can do for it. Can't even say it. Hideko. Least I can do. I'm trying to open my Word right now.
So I would, I think the words assume a greater knowledge than the public really has about the Hiroshima situation. You just use the word Hiroshima, expecting everybody to know what it is. So personally, if I had time, I would edit some of your
Okay, well,
words.
why don't we do it right now? It's only 60 words. My Word is opening up as we speak. It's just an old machine and it takes a while.
Did everybody else see these suggestions? Now, Hideko, you're here. Can we use your name in one of these radio public announcements?
Yes, please, please.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. By all
Right.
means. You know,
All right.
I'm 90 years old and a half. I'm not going to be around that much longer, probably, you know, although I'm very, in spirit, resilient and stubborn. So in spirit, I'll be here forever supporting you. However, this is really a bad time. And we got to be out there very clearly. American people have no idea.
I need someone else to open Word because I have too much open and I have an old machine. So I know you have a copy of it, Cheryl. Can you open it and share it? The letter that I sent that had the station logo and everything, and you know, well, maybe it's the second one with the text. I cannot open it right now.
Okay, sorry, I didn't.
I cannot open it right now.
I know, I
So
hear
we won't
you.
have much to discuss unless we can open it.
Gloria, why don't you send it to Cheryl right
No,
now?
I'm
so that
looking. She
Yeah,
sent
but
it.
you're looking for it. So if she sends it to you, then you can do it.
I'm having a bit of trouble with too many windows open and it's an old
Yeah, well,
machine. So I'm just telling you my situation, which
I
you
know,
do not know.
What time was it you
All right,
sent
let
it?
me see if I can forward that. I have it and I have to go
Oh,
into
there we are. No, I
send.
found it. I found it.
Okay,
I found it.
Say
yeah, because
something about
otherwise we won't
PSAs.
have it to discuss.
Right. So I'm actually got it in the email. I'm looking at it in the email. I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Select window you wish to share. Share.
I
Can I
saw
say
one with
something?
57 words, one with 60 words,
Yeah,
but this
there it
is the
is.
latest.
Well, it could be one of the earlier versions. I made a correction
Right.
and
Okay. So you
I
see
think that
this
may
now?
be the latest one.
You have
Yeah.
to move yourselves off from the side. Okay. All right. This is
Gloria, are you going to read this yourself, record it yourself, or are they going to record
They're
it?
going to record it in their own voices and, you know, it's always their announcers who do these. I listen to stations where they do this and it's, you supply the text and their anchor, you know, the DJs are used to hearing read it.
Mhm.
And in case anybody else notices that the thing that she's changed that we don't see is the last word in Wilf's name. So she changed that to
Yeah, but also, I didn't mean to cut you off,
Corrected
but
it.
also we don't need to put the part in about Wilf being the oldest international
No.
peace. If you think it's more important to add more about Hiroshima, we can knock that
Yes.
out and put that in.
Yes,
Right.
good idea.
So, something like to commemorate the horrendous nuclear bombing of Hiroshima.
Too many adjectives.
All right.
No.
Women's Internationally for Peace and Freedom, not peace and justice.
That's
Yeah.
that's what she has fixed already.
I fixed
Yes,
that already.
I'm sorry, I picked up an older one. So, but we don't have to say we were founded in 1915. We can leave
No.
that out and instead concentrate more on the
Message.
what happened on Hiroshima.
Okay.
And
Okay, so I knocked that whole sentence out. So instead of Hiroshima Day, we could get rid of day and describe it. I mean, we could say horrendous, or we could just say
Right.
the atomic blast at Hiroshima.
on
This was the first time this horrific nuclear weapon was exploded in a human city. Okay? The military attitude of the whole country is really flabbergasting that anybody will consider that. You know, I mean, you had to be there to see people melting and dying, and that's your brother, sister, mother, father. It was the most horrific human experience and was a human experiment. But do you think the folks over here really has a sense of that? I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, we're down to
Let's say you
47 words.
remember.
We're down to 47 words now. And I knocked out the last sentence and it reads, the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom, or WILPF, is pleased to underwrite KBOO's unique programming to commemorate the horrific atomic blast at Hiroshima, we highlight blast survivor Hideko Tamura's efforts to raise awareness of the risk of nuclear war. For more information, Google WILPF US. Now, we only have 47 words. That means we have over 10 words that we can add.
Right.
About the horror and risk. Horror and risk.
Of nuclear war.
I cannot unmute myself. How do I?
Can I?
Yeah, we can hear you, Judith.
I would suggest.
I'll put it in the chat the way I have it now, so you can all see it.
I would suggest that you include to commemorate the grotesque deaths of X number of thousands of human beings. Talk about the deaths of human beings. We highlight the blast survivor of.
Please look in the chat to see what we have right now. So we're all working on the same page.
Right.
You,
So I'm going to
can
stop.
listen, you can even wipe out my name. You know, anybody who survived can attest to that. Right? It doesn't have to be.
No, we're not short on words, Hideko. We need to know what else we can add. So the horrific wartime World War II blast, they might not even know it was part of World War II.
It was.
Right.
So should we add, we can add those. That's only three words. Counts, I think it counts as 3. World War and II.
Okay, so I'm going to stop
I
sharing.
would go dramatic to commemorate the nuclear incineration of X number of thousands of human beings. We highlight blast, put in the description of how many human beings were incinerated on that day. This is too tame.
Right, so, and what's the number, Hideko, we should use? Is it 100,000?
140,000 by the end of September 1945.
Okay, so we could get rid, to commemorate the atomic blast. I have to do this in Word and then paste it. To commemorate the World War II atomic blast.
It's a atomic attack.
Nuclear attack.
Nuclear attack on Hiroshima that led to the incineration of 140,000
citizens.
Well, you're getting kind of wordy.
Right. Well, we're just giving you the idea. I think you can finish this offline.
Yeah. And do you really want to say you want to, are pleased to underwrite KBOO's unique programming? You don't want to just
say that in the beginning. This is not a plug for us. This is an underwriting. They have to have something like that.
Okay.
Right. That makes it cheaper, much cheaper.
So I think that people understand that you can get more information about organizations. I don't think you need to say Google WILPF US.
And in fact,
I think you do need to say that. I don't think they'll remember. I don't think they will remember. I think you need that. I could say information rather than more information and get rid of one word.
Well, I would actually tell them, can you not spell it out? Visit WILPFUS.org or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we've spent enough time on this.
All right, well, I will pay the money and it will go in. If you
Well,
don't
if
like
you
it,
want-
that's your
Well,
problem,
you know-
because if you don't want to spend the time getting it right, we won't get it right. That's all there is, so.
well, you can, Judith and I, at least in Hideko, can help you offline.
Okay, that's fine. I won't do anything until we've shot it back and forth a few times then.
Can I add just one more thing? The thing that bothered us was that we were very coldly experimented on, because the data about all of us were gathered right away by the military and was suppressed. And then MacArthur took the whole thing out of the town and no one was supposed to talk about it. I mean, the whole attempt was planned carefully, militarily, and no wonder this country is the strongest, mightiest military power in the whole goddamn world.
So,
They were the most cruel and
Yes.
Let her
Maybe
talk.
you need to put the words inhumane and cruel in, Gloria.
Okay.
although
Yeah.
I'm the beneficiary of the most wonderful American people and caring folks, so it's the human nature, the higher and the lower put together. And I shouldn't really, be surprised about that. Every single one of us has capability for both of this essence in ourselves. I know that very well, but I want you to know nuclear weapon is a consummation of the worst that you could ever have done in this human history.
so maybe Gloria, you were willing to pay for 10 spots. Maybe you could have part 1 and part 2. Verse 5, say one thing, and the second one.
Well, I can find that out, sure. I don't know. I haven't
Reiterate.
spoken to Mr. Garfinkel yet.
Mhm.
He's the one that does the underwriting.
I would call it the greatest evil in all humanity. That's what Daniel Ellsberg called it.
Greatest evil.
The
Mhm.
greatest evil. 79 years ago, the greatest evil happened.
Okay, so I think we've
Well,
got enough.
evil is so overused, though. I mean,
I don't
And how
know.
do you say that is the greatest when you have World War II and incinerating people in the incinerators in Germany? That's
yeah,
not a
we
helpful
get into
phrase.
people arguing who's on first then, who
Right.
is the biggest prize winner for evil.
Right.
I don't think that is going to help the point. I just think trying to make it clear what, when, like reporters do, who, what, when, where. And if people think really that it isn't a commonplace in people's mind anymore, then we do have to use more words on the event itself.
It isn't just being incinerated, please. That's just a simple Gaza, you get incinerated. But in Hiroshima, you melt it with radiation heat. That could melt the steel twice more, okay? And then your brothers and your mothers and your sisters melting in front of you. And then if you don't do that because you were in the shade, the power of radiation took over your bone marrow and you couldn't breathe. Help me, please.
Right.
You
No.
can't imagine. The Americans have no idea how we died. No
Right.
wonder
No,
they
I
can
think you're
allow
right.
nuclear bombs today.
Yep.
Well, I think
I'm sorry
this is
for
very
being young.
this is very hard conversation because you are history. We're people who talk about history, and you are history. You were there, and we don't have anyone else like you. You're unique in that role.
Well,
So-
I think that the people really felt bad in this country and they wanted to do something. So they pour water on the rock. Well, I'm sorry you didn't have water, blah, 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 blah. You do lots of nice things today, remembering and trying to calm the spirit. But that doesn't take care of any goddamn thing. I'm sorry. The lantern flowing. That's beautiful. But what the hell does it do for you to become really strong and powerful. No, this can't be done. No, there isn't enough energy anywhere. Maybe WILPF does, and maybe a few organizations do.
Yeah.
Essentially, America doesn't do it.
You know, it's
So-
always easy to self-justify.
Well, you know, and
So
I
the-
have part of that. That Thomas Hobbes told us in the state of nature and blah, 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 blah. It's a British and it's nasty. And it is very nasty when it comes to war. So it's the war that creates it, to exterminate your enemy. And folks don't choose whatever, exterminate your enemy. And so it gets to be very theological and you know, spiritual. What are we here for? And what are we supposed to fulfill? Who are we? You know, it's to that kind of a question. Sorry for getting so
Oh, Hideko, we're sending you many, many hugs and
Yeah.
trying.
Yeah.
So the article, the interview that you did with Hideko that you told us about,
I'm open now. I don't have too much life ahead of me.
right? So
Yes, please use me and rely on me, and I will come through for you.
Ellen, you're frozen. Yeah.
No, I'm not frozen.
Okay, fine.
Yes, I put it in the chat. I can put it again if you don't see it.
But did Hideko speak in the terms that she's just used in that interview or not?
She wasn't quite as passionate, but she was definitely very clear.
How many years is it? 89 now Hiroshima, Nagasaki?
79.
Or 79.
Margot had her hand up, but now I don't see it.
I'm
So-
taking my daughter and granddaughter to Hiroshima and Nagasaki next year for the 80th.
Oh, maybe
Wow.
maybe I'll come with you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Evelyn.
Okay. Margot?
Yes, and I'm sure that I can talk about this on a telephone call to Gloria. But I just want to say it to let Hideko know that I'm listening. That of course there were both the thermal effects of the weapon that did melt steel, and you can see that in the A-bomb dome in Hiroshima, and also there were the effects of gamma rays and neutrons for some people who were not incinerated, who managed to survive the initial effects of the blast and the heat, the thermal effect. There was also, that's true, that people's bone marrow was affected over, say, a period of weeks, and it was a horrible lingering death for those who died of that. And there was an attempt to deny that on the part of the USA, that was a known predictable effect, but they tried to pretend that the initial radiation didn't happen. I just wanted to validate what you were saying. I'm sorry, I haven't lived through it, so I maybe shouldn't be speaking, but I want to speak in solidarity with you, Hideko.
Okay,
Listen, I didn't mean for you to feel so terrible on your side, because Japan did plenty itself. You know, it's the war coming, and our human instinct want to exterminate the enemy, and gets to the point by any means whatsoever. And I'm saying there's a time and there's a point, if there is any way you can negotiate, instead of kicking the country out of the League of Nations, kicking the country out, ability to buy any metals and, you know, everything that was done. And when we had the governance over Pacific, you had humongous fleet of Navy power parked at thousands of miles away from your own home country at Pearl Harbor. You know, there are tons of different things that can come. And so sorry about Pearl Harbor, so sorry about the actions of my former military government. But I am very proud of being a Japanese and still remain a citizen. And Japanese government doesn't allow me to become a dual citizen within so long as I am Japanese citizen. But I am very proud of being a Japanese because culturally we have very what I would respect deeply and love that I grew up with. You know, I'm able to arrange flowers. I'm able to perform tea ceremony. I'm able to do tons of things that you really would enjoy participating, you know, as a human being who is cultured. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm just talking endlessly.
Oh,
Anyway, I'm
okay.
terribly sorry. Yeah, you are more than anybody else who could have done, you know, toward peace. That I assure you, you know, I support you wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Hideko.
Well, how's that? I decided to make
you.
her a child blast survivor. I think that's important. She was a child blast survivor. You know, it's hard for me to copy it for some reason. That last edition isn't coming in.
Does Margot still need to talk again?
No, she just forgot to take it down her hand, I think. Okay.
Margo, your hand is still up. And so we'll go on to Robin, Africa. If you have anything to say.
No, we've got Judith. Judith, hand.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, yes.
It is
Yeah.
9:10. The
Right.
time.
Okay.
We have 20
okay.
minutes left.
Okay, Judith?
Yeah, I think we're at number 6, promoting
Yes.
the peace treaties. I don't have a lot to report about PEP, except to say that for about 1.5 years, we've been doing what I consider to be preparation for launch. There were lots of things that we had to get in order, ducks that had to be in the order. We are now ready to launch, and we have picked a day, which is October the 20th. Excuse me, just a little over 2 months away. And we should be ready to launch PEP officially here in San Diego, since we're pretty much based in San Diego. And that's really all I have to report right now.
What about September 21, Day of Peace?
I looked into that, but when you start our launch is not going to be digital. Our launch, this is important, actually. This is going to be in person big party, a peace party in person. So if you're going to be doing something in person, you're going to be inviting a lot of people to come. And if it's on a day like Peace Day, International Peace Day, or Day of Nonviolence, they've got other things going on. All the peace people have other things that they're going to be involved with.
Right.
So we've picked a date that allows us to get the most people to come, we believe. That's why we picked that date.
Thank you.
I can mention why PEP is involved with treaties, because our goal,
you've told us before, Judith.
Okay.
I think we understand what your program is trying to do, but more to the point. Now we are officially, Disarm Committee is officially supporting you. We voted to do that at the last meeting. You weren't here, okay? But it's not been discussed by the board yet. But we, as a Disarm Issue Committee, can go ahead and do what we want because we voted on it. So in specific, we said we were supporting you. So the purpose of this part of the agenda is for you to say specifically, what kind of support do you need right now? Do you need someone to write something? Do you need people to agree to come to San Diego on October the 20th? Do you have committees that need to be populated? That kind of thing was what I was hoping you were going to be able to tell us today, or if not today, the next meeting.
having heard what you're looking for, I can say, no, we don't have any need from WILPF itself right now, because it is an in-person party. So the workers that we need have to be living in San Diego. They have to be able to come and help us put together all the party favors. They have to become able to bring in food for people who are going to be there. So since most of us are digital, we don't need any in-person help, and we don't need money right now. That will come later, maybe. But for right now, just the support, the being able to say at our launch party that the oldest women's organization in the world that has been working on getting rid of war has agreed to support PEP. That will be a fantastic thing for us to be able to say, but we have to wait until your board meets, I believe, before we can say.
You can say the Disarm Committee. Currently, you
Okay.
can already say the Disarm Committee.
Okay, thank you.
You will
Good.
see that when the minutes of 14th of July arrive, you will see that's what we voted on last time.
But then I must say thank you very, very deeply from the bottom of my heart and for the whole PEP team. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this for us, because it's an enormous emotional and intellectual boost to have WILF be willing to embrace us. So thank you, thank you.
I would like to say that I want to give you kudos for sticking with it, because I know you got discouraged months ago because you didn't think we understood or cared, and so here we are. This is good.
Here we are, and we're going ahead.
Right. And so nevertheless, if there are, I think you have committees and stuff that need people to sit on them, that kind of thing.
Good question, but not yet.
Not yet.
We're not there yet.
Okay, 9:15, 15 minutes left.
Okay, so Robin, do you have anything to say about anything? This is your time. Unmute.
I think I've already reported the Iraqi folks. We have a very good person on another subject on DEI in terms of George Friday's initiatives. We have a very good woman of color who's going to participate with us, and she and I have a good relationship. She's been in jail. She has, she has many of the problems of women of color, and she really wants to jump in and be an active member of our branch. So I'm feeling positive about that.
Okay. And Wing Farm is coming up, not that far away.
Yeah, I forget to say that. And of course, I also say every WILF person is just invited by definition of being WILF, but there are only 20 beds. And I think at this point, they're pretty well occupied. And we're excited at what's going to be happening.
Great.
I hope to be able to attend digitally. Are you still thinking about making that possible, Robin?
Yes. At the Summit of the Future discussion, that would be in the last weekend. We can schedule in a variety of things. As soon as these Iraqi kids leave on Tuesday, I will be jumping full-fledged into that. Of course, also nailing up the Jill Stein campaign. I've been the Vermont coordinator of the Jill Stein campaign, and that closes on Thursday, and I am not sure we've gotten the 1,000 signatures because everyone has been scared. But anyway, hopefully these things will be over with, and I will be able to focus more clearly on the gathering and the programming when things will happen on the program. So I'll be in touch with you, Judith.
Thank you.
May I ask what you mean by people have been scared?
Well, I mean, especially now with Kamala running, people, it's not just scared, people are enthusiastic, obviously, for her. Frankly, I tempered my enthusiasm a bit because I want to understand what she stands for and what she's going to support. But because now a woman is looking to be the candidate for the presidency, Jill Stein's presidency seems apparently less attractive to even put her on the ballot. So it has been hard to get signatures. Has anyone else been working on that campaign? No. So here we are, peace activists who are not interested in supporting a peace activist.
I will.
Okay, Joan is pissed off.
Well, you make it sound as if well, never mind. I didn't know Jill Stein was a peace activist, for one thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I guess I'm into, let's see where we can both be pushing forward and so on, but also where we can be successful in this otherwise critical crisis situation. Thank you.
I translated for her in Paris at the COP21.
I thought WILF did not endorse candidates.
No, we don't. No, we don't. But anyway, so
I
yeah.
just translated for her.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nancy isn't here. Odile, do you have anything to say about MEPJAC or the nuclear weapon free zone?
Yes, I could just say that Tura Campanella-Cook is leaving us. She's working mostly with Jewish Voice for Peace, and so she's leaving WILPF right now. So we have the rest of our committee. We are a little bit overwhelmed, and many of us are working locally more than nationally. Anyway, the committee is now a little bit, Jan is the chair, and it's not, maybe Joan can say more. I missed the last meeting.
No, that's...
Well, you all get emails from them via the WILPF branches list and what have you.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, they're not too active right now. I mean,
but we get lots of emails.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Tura actually said she wants to stay with the Jane Addams branch, so she's not leaving WILPF totally.
Oh, good.
So yeah, that's good.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so C is Global Women United Against NATO, met on the 22nd of July. And it was just the women in the US that met. And it was only like 5 of us that met. And basically they're coming up with a statement about the No to NATO, Yes to Peace events on that weekend. And that was pretty much it.
So that, I mean, no more actions.
They're going to have a meeting in September. That's all I know.
Mhm.
An international call.
Just to say that we did submit to the e-news an article for what we were told would be the mid-July e-news, describing what we did, what Diane and I and other WILPers did in DC for the No to NATO summit, counter summit, and the lobbying that was done, world beyond warheads to windmills. But you will notice you have not yet had an e-news. I have complained to Darian about this. You know, I stay up till 3 a.m. to meet a deadline, and then the e-news doesn't come out. And I'm told that it'll maybe come out in early August. So just in case you hadn't noticed.
Right.
So,
Vanessa's actually going to be leaving that job. So
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're on Pam, radioactive waste ANA. Is Pam here?
Unmute and show myself. Hello. Okay, so ANA nuclear waste I just want to say that our next meeting, our fall meeting, is going to be in Atlanta. And it's going to be sponsored by Georgia Wan, Women's Action for New Directions.
Ah,
Yeah, it should be really great. And I'm thinking that we got our tour of Savannah River site. It's one of the most egregious sites in the whole nuclear weapons complex. It's gigantic and it's filled with nuclear waste, and the $25 billion plutonium pit making facility, which is insane. I don't know how many thousands of percent cost overrun that is. Anyway, so hope put that in your, it's going to be around December 5th. I can't remember the exact dates, but it's in
September 5th or
December.
December
5th will be our fall meeting. I know it's late, but that's the only time we could get a tour of the Savannah River site.
I want to be sure I have the date, Pam. December 5th?
Yes, that's when, so I think we're going to start it before, but I'm sorry, I don't remember all the details right now.
Okay, so Wand is going to be hosting it?
Yes.
Okay.
I definitely want to be there.
Great.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Remind us where Savannah River is.
Savannah.
Savannah.
Is that in what state is that? Sorry, my
Oh,
geography.
Georgia, Georgia,
and
right on the
Georgia.
South Carolina border.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's significant about it, we're having Juan there, because they're in Atlanta, Georgia, is it's across from the Bodil gigantic nuclear power plants that cost, I forget, $35 billion or something like that to build. I mean, an insane amount of money. So this is big money and we're up against it, but we keep plugging ahead. There isn't really much to report on the nuclear waste issue. I mean, they're still looking for a repository. They're still pushing to keep WILPF waste repository in New Mexico and the Carlsbad open forever, even though the license technically expired this year. And they are building more panels in there to take more nuclear waste. And we are saying that the legacy waste may fit in there, but what about all this new waste from the plutonium bomb cores that you want to produce and all the other nuclear waste from the new Sentinel missiles? And of course, you know, they just shine us on and don't say anything about it. And but what they're trying to do is they have, this is another crazy thing, that they say that finding a new nuclear waste repository is an environmental justice initiative, and they put, I think it's $24 million, and they're offering these bribes to different places to look into taking the nuclear waste. And of course, a lot of them are Native American lands and low-income communities. So we're monitoring that now, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so the next item is back from the brink and ICANN report. And ICANN week is 16th through 23rd of September.
Yeah, this is
Cheryl, do
just
you want to
a heads up. I give you the website there. They want us to do actions, but that's not till September. But if you just would please visit that website and have a look, see. This is a heads up. That's all. Thank you.
What website?
It's in the agenda.
Website is the next item on the agenda, and I think it's the last item almost. I think it is the last item. So website.
Just look at it, please.
Okay. And then the next meeting is 11th of August, and I think that's the whole agenda.
Want to tell
Oh,
Cheryl?
wait, you didn't do the WSD committee featuring Joan Roloffs. Are we involved?
We moved that to much earlier in the agenda, and you came in after we did that, Gloria.
Well, what did you decide? Just in
We
one.
decided we've got some people are going to work on making it happen with Mary Beth.
Okay, that's all I need. Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Tell her
so
to thank Cheryl for all her hard work, which appears to be often thankless. She works
Yes,
late
yes.
and does all this detail behind the scenes, and we would all fall apart without her. So I want to say we really appreciate all the hard work you do, even though it often seems like we don't. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Cheryl.
All right,
Yes.
I'm
Thank
about
you,
to,
Cheryl.
I'm
Agreed.
about to go to a concert here in Santa Cruz. My favorite activity. And so
Enjoy, enjoy.
that's why I'm in
Okay.
Santa Cruz.
have a
Bye-bye.
couple good weeks, everyone.